मिस्टेक हुए दोनों कप्तानों से, इतने एक्सपीरियंस हो, जितने हम हाईली रेट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हो जाता है सम टाइम आपसे गलती हो जाती है। पहले अगर आप हम न्यूजीलैंड से स्टार्ट करते हैं तो मेरे ख्याल से जो लास्ट 5 ओवर की अजहर भाई जो बात करें ना 56 रन हुए, तो वहाँ पे मेरे ख्याल से केन विलियमसन ने थोड़ी सी गलती की है। वहाँ पे जिमी नेशम को मेरे ख्याल से ओवर कराने चाहिए था। आफ्टर 14 ओवर्स वहाँ पे उसके 2 ओवर रहते थे, जो कि उनके कोटा के जो बॉलर्स थे ना 2 ओवर मिसिंग थे। तो वहाँ पे नीशम को थोड़ा सा एंड पे लेके आए, अगर वहाँ पे 15 या 16 ओवर कराए थे मे बी कि वो रन थोड़े से कम हो जाते, क्योंकि वहाँ से मोमेंटम शिफ्ट हो गया इंग्लैंड के बैटिंग की। 56 रन बन गए जी। और सेकंड पे जब हम आ जाते हैं इंग्लैंड की बॉलिंग पे, तो मेरे ख्याल से उन्होंने अपना वो जो फॉर्मेट है ना, वो जो T20 में जो आपका एक रोल होता है हर बॉलर्स का, वो उसमें थोड़े से मेरे ख्याल से अर्ली ऑन उनको ऑल्दो पहले ओवर में विकेट मिल गई, लेकिन वो इस तरह नहीं था कि लाइक बॉलर की कोई स्विंग एक्स्ट्रा स्विंग हो रहा था, वो उसके बैट पे नहीं आ रहा, टॉप एज हो गया। जो जॉर्डन के पहले पावर प्ले में जो 2 ओवर यूज़ हो गए ना, तो मेरे ख्याल से वहाँ पे 1 ओवर करा लेना चाहिए था, वहाँ पे किसी स्पिनर से करा देते, क्योंकि जिस तरह प्री मैच में मैंने कहा कि जॉर्डन ऐसा बॉलर है कि जब तक इसकी ज़रूरत ना पड़े आप इसको पावर प्ले में यूज़ नहीं कर सकते, और वो कर भी रहे इस तरह पास में भी। वो ऐसा बॉलर है कि आप तीनों फेज में जब आपको ज़रूरत पड़े, जहाँ पे विकेट लेने की ज़रूरत हो, तो आप उसको एज अ विकेट।
जॉर्डन का 1 ओवर रहता था वैसे, ये मैं आपको बताऊं,
लेकिन उसने बैक टू बैक 2 ओवर के, मैं ये बात कर रहा हूँ कि जहाँ पे पार्टनरशिप की मिचेल की और कॉनवे की, मेरे ख्याल से अगर वहाँ पे उससे जॉर्डन से ओवर करा रहे थे और आपको वहाँ पे विकेट मिल जाती, तो मे बी ये मैच चेंज हो सकता था, जो सिनारियो था।
बिल्कुल जी, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स यहाँ पे मिल रहे हैं। The biggest thing Rashid Latif thinks that they didn't go in Morgan's favor was he did not use Moeen Ali at all, neither with the new ball, neither with the old ball, especially when Nisham came. He bowled Adil Rashid, who is a leg spinner. Of course he can bowl googlies, but that was a trick that they miss. And then of course the conditions, England were not able to assess the conditions too well. They were bowling the wrong lengths as the ball was skidding. It was not a dry pitch, but they were bowling the same lengths that they were bowling on the dry pitch. Okay. And Umar also said that both the captains, he think, could have used bowlers a bit more wisely, but I do think it was a great game of cricket.
I'll agree on that.
Amazing game.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, gentlemen. Vivi, what was the key point for you?
In this match? The key point was the guy who, Jimmy Neesham, who came and is 27 runs at a scoring rate as 245.45. That to me was the whole the game changer. And when you look at maybe Darryl Mitchell, I felt at one point he was going to help England to get across the line. But you know,
can we explain to the viewers that as we were watching that last, say, 10 overs, you were very animated. Vivi was up and down and sort of.
I felt like West Indies playing.
Yeah, New Zealand was like my West Indies today. You know? But no, when we look at Darryl Mitchell as well, the way in which he played, I felt maybe at one point he was going to help England to get across the line. But the most important thing that someone stayed there at the end, and with the time spent at the crease, we were able to see some power hitting towards the end. And it goes to show that regardless of what happens up front, is what takes place towards the back end. And,
well,
you know,
yeah, I mean, Kane Williamson's quote at the end there, talking to Mike Atherton, it's a game of small margins.
That's right.
That's absolutely right. Which, in fact, we all know that it can change very quickly. And you're right. I agree entirely. Neesham's knock actually seemed to galvanise Darryl Mitchell as well, because suddenly he was connecting and it was going 20 yards over the boundary as well.
Because I know for sure he would have taken some serious criticism for the time spent at the crease. And when you look at the end and see 72 runs from 47 balls, which means towards the back end, it was most important for New Zealand, and he came at the right time.
Yeah, for sure did.
He hit those last 3 sixes in the last 4 or 5 deliveries of his batting. Otherwise, he would only hit 1 6.
That's right.
So, yeah. No, but it certainly worked. Aaqib, what about the bowling? Because we had those expensive overs. One from Chris Jordan, which was, 20 odd. And he is a man we talked about some hours ago as being excellent at the death normally. And we expected him to use those Yorkers, but he bowled length, short of a length.
Yeah.
and had a slight neck injury as he watched the ball, disappearing over the boundary.
I mean, look, it's about, we discussed pre-game, it's about 3 phases of the game. First 6, then 7 to 15, and then the last 5. When you lose the toss,
Yeah.
and you want to set a target, which is 166, it's every score at that ground. So you didn't score high up. It's just a mini score. So mini score will come into mini margins. So they done well until 15 overs, because they were like 106 runs in first 15 overs. They still needed 60 runs in 5 overs. So 165 can only done this to you, isn't it? So 12 and over, 5 overs, you got best death bowling. I think England bowlers, experienced bowlers, Jordan and Wokes, didn't work out. And Rashid, in last 5 overs, I don't think he should be brought in. They used the faster bowlers overs prior to the last five overs. I think
so what do you
it should
guys
be
think?
one over from the fast bowler. Wood. Should Wood 1 over? I would say 2 Woods over and 2 Jordan and 1 Wokes.
You know, Adil used to bowl in the last overs as well for New Zealand, for England, and he was quite successful. But today the pitch was, like the dew was there and the ball was wet, and that's why
That's
I
the
think
problem, because you have to foresee that what's going on, how much is coming down. So finish the spinners over before 15.
Especially with the left-hander on strike.
आकिब भाई अगर आप देखें ना, सईद अजमल से बेस्ट बॉलर कोई भी नहीं था डेप्थ ओवर का. 2010 सेमीफाइनल अगेंस्ट ऑस्ट्रेलिया,
माइक हसी
तीनों फॉर्मेट का टॉप 3 में था, लेकिन वहां पे हसी ने चांसेस ले लिया और 21 रन हो गए, क्योंकि आपने सिर्फ 3 बॉल कनेक्ट करने और बैट्समैन उस पे वैसे भी रिलैक्स होता है स्पिनर पे.
बोली उसमें तो देखना है, सही कह रहा है कि एक जो स्पिनर है, when he has to slow down the ball, and the batsman has more chances of hitting sixes. And if you have a fast bowler who bowls good Yorkers, that is the most difficult shot to hit.
But they didn't bowl the Yorkers.
They didn't.
I mean, look,
I
only 1 Yorker in the last 3
I
overs.
was talking really high this afternoon or evening about Jordan. He's such a wonderful bowler, but when it comes to pressure, you forgot your best ball. It has to be 4 Yorkers, and then look, when he gave away already 22 runs, then he bowled the last one Yorker and went for only 1 run.
Yeah. Well, we can actually replay what we're going to call the turning point of the match, which was over 17 and 18. And here we are. This is Jordan, length, just sort of a length, into the arc for Neesham. That slides down the leg side. Yeah, he got away with that. So they could have won earlier. But this is power hitting at its best. Then he starts to get nervous, bowls the wide. That's a fantastic shot because it's 2.5 feet wide of off stump. This is just an extraordinary piece of cricket. Yeah. I mean, that was 6 inches the difference between a catch, a 6, the whole thing. So I mean, an extraordinary over of cricket.
And here they did not take a single.
Yeah.
Because the non-striker and great sportsman spirit again by New Zealand.
Do you know what? When we saw that and the sportsmanship of not taking single because Adil was impeded going for the ball, we also said, or I said at the time, well, actually that suits New Zealand because that leaves Neesham on strike. Next ball, ping 6.
And one more thing, if you assess Daryl Mitchell's batting, he was just waiting, and they started bowling slower balls to him. It was misread. Even Adil bowled shorter to him.
Yeah.
If somebody's charging down, then you can use your slow ones, pace off. If somebody's waiting for the bad ball, and it's a heavy go.
It was fair to say that England, they were in the game 100% all the way. And I just felt, as you said, individuals, who were supposed to get it right at the time just didn't. Length balls, even David, you can have a go.
What do you mean even?
No, at this stage, in this stage, at this stage, in your life. At this stage of
At
your
this
life,
stage,
at this stage of your life. Yeah.
I can agree with you. I can agree with you on the length balls. After that, it's just fantasy land.
You know, like throughout the innings, you know, if you see comparison to England score and New Zealand score, you know, they were 10 run behind all the way till the 16th over.
Yeah.
And the 17th over, they passed the line, you know, like they finished the game in 3 overs. And because, and last 5, if you see, New Zealand last 5 went for 56 and they got same amount of score in 3 overs.
Yeah.
Only because they missed the length and they assessed the condition wrong and they didn't bowl Yorkers. They didn't bowl full enough and that's why I think they lost the game.
Yeah.
आकिब ने जैसे कहा ना कि पार स्कोर 160 165 होता तो उतने ही बनाया इन्होंने। इनके आउट कितने हुए इंग्लैंड की तरह देख के बताएंगी?
4
आउट हुए, 180 तो बनने थे यहाँ पे। 180 बनते तो आपका मैच अच्छा हो सकता है, मिस मैच नहीं होता।
इसमें वही बात हुई कि वो जो बेस्ट्रो ऊपर गया 17 बॉल पे 13
नहीं,
वो भी
हो गया,
स्ट्रगल
लास्ट
कर
में-
रहे
नहीं, अगर 4 विकेट डाउन है यहाँ पे
तो वो बॉल्स वो यूज कर गया ज्यादा बेस्ट्रो और बटलर।
देखो मैं
बाकी
सुबह
तो-
वाले पहले सेगमेंट में कहा था बैरिस्टो को ओपन ना भेजें, मोइन अली को भेजें। सुनते ही नहीं है।
He struggled big time, yes, too. It was all over the place.
स्टार्टिंग में 2 पेस पिच थी स्टार्टिंग में, लेकिन बाद में नॉर्मल हो गई।
If we look at the batting card, the England batting card, then just to run down this very quickly. Yeah, Butler looked in good touch again. I mean, that was a key wicket relatively early on, 29 from 24, but he looked in good touch. You're right, Bairstow never really got going. So 13 from 17, tried everything, was frustrated. Milan played well.
He was good. He was good.
He
I
was
think,
good.
he
Moen
was
was outstanding in the because he then picked it up, ran with it, to use a rugby expression, and actually played super. Played very, very well indeed. Livingston, a couple of big blows, 17 from 10. Morgan just at the end there. So it seemed like a good recovery, didn't it, to get to 166 before. I mean, when you get 50 odd off the last 5, you feel as though you finished strongly. And that sometimes gives you, well, it did give them momentum going in
I
to the
just-
start of the second innings of the
I
game.
just felt that the 166 that England got, it was enough tonight in terms of the conditions. Just some loose bowling towards the end helped New Zealand to cross the line. When you look at that and see, it is just, it was, as Aaqib said, the best death bowling you could find, but it wasn't. It was
On its
found,
day, yeah.
found wanting.
Yeah, on its
tonight,
day it's
yeah.
good. This wasn't
Yeah,
its day.
this wasn't. Yeah.
Is the simple story. New Zealand's bowling?
New Zealand bowling card, if we can see that
7 बॉलर्स।
7 बॉलर्स को यूज किया, डिफरेंट मैचअप्स को यूज किया। मेरे लिए थोड़ा सा जो हैरान कौन था, सैंटनर का सिर्फ एक ही ओवर कराया, बट इन द एंड ऑब्वियसली उनके फेवर में रिजल्ट किया है, बट
Because of the lefties, I think.
बट आई मीन उस पर मैं बाद में आती हूँ, उसको एक दफ़ा उसको बॉलिंग कार्ड को हम ज़रूर देख लें। बोल्ट को बहुत एक्सपेंसिव गए, बाकी उसके अलावा बाकी सब अच्छे रहे। ग्लेन फिलिप्स को भी एक ओवर करा दिया और एक विकेट हासिल की सऊदी ने, मिलन ने और सूदी ने। सो बेसिकली अगर हम देखें, मैं सिर्फ आपसे भी बात करना चाहूँगी, आपसे भी कि ठीक है स्टार्ट्स की अपनी एक जगह है, देयर इज स्पेस फॉर स्टार्ट्स, बट समटाइम्स as a captain or a coach, you might have to back your player with intelligence. We were talking about Quinton de Kock not really being good on spin, but with his intelligence he was able to play spin better. With a bowler like Santner, you can take another over at least. I mean, just 1 over for 8 runs.
It was surprising to see just the one, you know, especially he's highly rated, and especially in that New Zealand team. Just the one. We can all look back and say if and what and all that sort of stuff, but in the end they got across the line.
They
you
got
know.
across the
I think people can get too much into matchups. Oh, the 2 lefties are batting, so center, no. You can bowl to lefties, why not?
कोई विकेट नहीं है इस वर्ल्ड कप में लेफ्ट हैंडर को, सेंटनर की।
कोई नहीं है।
पर इकोनॉमी तो देखे ना, इकोनॉमी बहुत अच्छी है।
7.2 है, 6.8 है इसके राइट हैंड पे।
हाँ, तो they use that
मिडिल
setup
ओवर्स में
for
बुरे नहीं।
न्यूजीलैंड और इंग्लिश वो एशियन टीम होती है ना, उसमें लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर लेके आ जाते हैं, लेकिन जब आपस में खेलते हैं ये लोग तो ये फिर फास्ट बॉल पे जाते हैं, स्विंग पे जाते हैं।
But I think that over, Phillips over, went for 11, that over actually changed the momentum of the game. You see, afterwards, they were stucking in, and afterwards they were confident.
Some good shot from David Milan, though.
Oh,
Actually,
Yeah.
I love his shot selection tonight. It was special to see. He didn't try and overpower the ball in any way. I can remember a few shots he played through extra cover, and then he waited and just went over the top, perfectly timed, just caressed it to the boundary. I think he looked pretty good tonight.
That's what I
Looked
said.
pretty good. Yeah, he looked pretty good. Yeah.
Classic left-hand
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
It's nice to see.
You will love it, huh?
Oh, yeah. that I can do.
I know that, David. But no, I don't think at where you're at now, at present.
Viv, I can still time it.
at best,
I've
Mitchell.
got my batting glasses on, all right? They're not just reading glasses, they're batting glasses as well.
Oh my God, they look a little bit smuggy to me.
You're the smoky one. Okay, let's look at that New Zealand batting card, the chasing card, successful chasing card. And the two outstanding performances, because Guptill, of course, key man, as we said earlier, gone quickly. England were delighted with that. Mitchell hung in there, 72 from, 47 in the end. Williamson, again, big name, big wicket. You know, those two out early, and England are thinking, yes, we're going strongly here, we're going strong. Conway played well, Phillips came and went. Neesham, as we've said many a time now, that was the turning point. 27 from 11, and everything looked very, very different after that. So, yeah, they cruised with one over to spare to their target, 167 for 5.
And here's the England bowling card. Chris Wokes at the top, 2 wickets हासिल किए उन्होंने. क्रिस जॉर्डन जो बहुत ज़्यादा जिनके ऊपर बात हो रही थी, उनका एक ओवर बहुत एक्सपेंसिव गया जिसकी वजह से 10 की इकोनॉमी रही उनकी. आदिल रशीद को भी एक्सपेंसिव आज रहे. लिविंगस्टन जो थे वो आज बहुत ज़्यादा इकोनॉमिकल रहे, 5.50 इकोनॉमी थी. 2 इंपॉर्टेंट विकेट्स यहाँ पे भी इन्होंने थोड़ा सा प्रेशर वापस न्यूजीलैंड पे डाला. बट इन द एंड न्यूजीलैंड और नीशम और डेरिल मिचेल्स बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त परफॉर्मेंस उन्होंने की और ये सेमीफाइनल खेल के फाइनल में जगह बना ली.
Yeah, they did the job, and they did it incredibly well, New Zealand, so they are deservedly through to that final, which will take place, of course, on the 14th. Another semi-final coming up tomorrow. But we're going to take a break now, after which we'll come back and talk about the individual performances. Lots more to investigate yet tonight here on Game on Hay.